Greetings. This is The Third Degree with me, James Major Burns, and I am your host, James Major Burns. That's me putting out my cigarette. And I just wanted to remind everyone that this is an outlet and safe space for myself and others to speak on things going on in our lives, in our world. And a lot is going on. This is a chance to see what's going on behind the mind of the creative, because what you see and what you think ain't always the truth. Here you get to learn, laugh, share, and sometimes debate. So, ladies, gentlemen, and gender queers, I have a special guest with me today. This guy, he does a little bit with music and, some other things. We may have mutual friends who are some of my best friends, but Mr. Paris Wallace.
Thanks so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you for being a guest. This is always so funny how people, I always look at how people talk before, when they're interacting with people they know, they're good friends, and then when they're meeting someone or they're at work. Or, in an interview, it's like you sitting up straight, oh yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I just want to say bless the congregation. Amen. But no, thank you for being a guest. I haven't been on my podcast and doing it as much as I want to and would like to. But because of COVID and everything, I haven't been, meeting with people, or it just hadn't crossed my mind that much. I just was, kind of out of it. Yeah. But after the new year and just new things coming along, I just wanted to get back into the swing of things. And I'm just motivated again to share stories across our city. So one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because you're an artist in the city, and that is exactly what I want to help, is expand the voices of the artists in the city. But before we get to the city, there's a lot of things going on in the world.
Yeah.
And I already was going to ask you a few questions about some things that just happened in Ohio, but I mean, we can't go further than the breaching of the Capitol.
Yeah. That's been the main topic and main headline on every news outlet in the whole country, in the whole world probably. So yeah, it's a big deal.
It looks like a third world country.
I couldn't agree more.
And I was watching it, I was just in that mom pose with your hands behind your on your back. I was just like, what is going on? What are they doing?
Yeah.
Are you for real? And the fact that DT 45 is so upset, and he just has the audacity to do the same thing that was done to him. So people ragged on you about the Russians for 4 years, so you're just gonna really turn around and do the same thing. It's sad. It's just sad. It's a sore loser. He's just salty. He's salty. And I don't know if I never thought I would experience anything like that here with my own two eyes, but I watched it in disbelief.
That's, I mean, the way you described it is exactly how I feel. It's something that you read about how the events of the past have impacted history, and you never expect to see history before your very own eyes,
It's a revolution. We're on the cusp of a revolution, and I just feel like Alexander Hamilton out here, I tell you, have you heard of that musical Hamilton?
Of course, who hasn't?
It changed my life. I fell in love with the story, the music, but mostly the way Lin-Manuel Miranda introduced Alexander Hamilton and the rest of how he just retold the story of these men. Now, although they did things, they had slaves, and there were a lot of different things, he focused in on the things that were enticing and really birthed the country.
Yeah.
And to see it done like that, and how they really were focused on leaving a legacy, but just making change and what it took to make change, it just inspired me to want to be a part of that. But on top of that, just being a black guy in America, when it comes to voting and rights, like I've been excited to vote because I was raised understanding, like, you know, we couldn't vote, and then being able to vote, it's like being a part of the country,
right?
You know, the United States of America.
Yeah, extra quotations on that.
United States of America. And I said to my son Wayne, who's only 19, I was like, this is like your 9/11, because he was born in like 2001, and yeah, I should know this. Y'all know, I'm busy. But that, like, I remember being in school when that incident happened.
Me too.
And you know, we've lived through so many historic moments, and we learned about them. But one thing I don't know if people think about is how often the history books are being rewritten, but we're a part of history.
Exactly.
Like it's more than Dr. King and the legacy. There's so many people that's a part of it. Yes, he's the prominent figure, but there's all of these people that were part of that history. We may not know their names, but just being here is a part of it.
Exactly.
How did you feel watching it? How do you feel after it?
Well, the first thing I felt was, I guess the word that comes to mind is embarrassed. As a citizen of the United States, I mean, like you already alluded to it a little bit, but first of all, being a black man in America, we're already overlooked, and it seems like our opinions, our feelings aren't ever taken into question when it comes to anything. So secondly, it just comes down to anger at, like, how could someone who claims to love America, you know, Donald Trump, allow this to happen? Not
perpetuate it.
Exactly. Yeah, more than allow it. He basically championed it. Basically,
he's done it since he's been running for president.
Exactly. And even before that, just America has been under so much tension. It's been building up since Obama was elected 12 years ago, and it seems like this was bound to happen.
Oh my, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just thought about that. I was like, he mean 8.
Nah.
No, he mean 12.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was 2008. Oh my gosh.
And time is flying by so fast, but it's like I was in the 8th grade when Obama was elected in 2008. And so it's not something I really paid attention to as a high school kid. You know, you don't really pay attention to politics. You can't even vote yet.
I have to take it back. That's the most historic moment of his lifetime so far. There we go. Obama.
Right. So yeah, like, just, you know, at that time, it's something that you're not really paying attention to. You're a kid in high school. You're not really paying attention to politics.
Even me right now, in the last 4 so I voted for Obama the first time, and we all know why. He was getting a vote no matter what.
Yeah.
And the second time around, I was like, I'm gonna really listen to. No, I'm voting for Obama. He getting it. Hey, he was getting it. He get all 8 years for me because it's 8 years out of 230 plus.
Right. Exactly.
Of presidential seats or weeks. Like, I did the math at how many years and weeks it had been. I'm like, so out of all of this time, it's 8 years out of over 200 years worth of people who were president. 8 to 200 plus.
Exactly.
I'm like, and we probably are only going to see those 8. But I was so, like, being able to vote for him. Like, it's like I felt like gullible sometimes thinking back to it. I'm like, wow, there's a black president. America's changing. Yeah. It's going to be different now.
That was just the setup. That was the setup, really. And
because they surely started showing us black men getting shot on TV.
Exactly. Yep. And I really think that was the beginning of it, because I've heard it described as Donald Trump is the payback for what Obama was to America. Donald Trump is the physical manifestation of the payback.
I felt that way too. I'm like, so I felt like after Obama was president and then Hillary was running, I was like, look at where we could go with this. It's more than just for her to me. It's about the representation. Just like when Kamala Kamala Harris gets inducted, and like just how the women are gonna feel, especially the women of our community, the women of color. And even when she, they won the presidential elect, we only got a few more days before the 20th, but when they got the elect and it was announced, the response from women and like women of color, like black women, I was just like, they kept saying, girls, watch, there's glass on the floor. And I'm like, what are they talking about? But they're saying like the ceiling was just broken.
Yeah. And
when I saw that, I was like, oh man,
that's a great
amazing.
analogy.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, what's this about glass y'all talking about? And they talk about,
like, watch your step. Like.
Yeah, watch your step, y'all. Ladies, there's glass everywhere. I was like, what is she talking about? And I went through the comments and it was like, I was like, oh, that's very clever.
Yeah.
I was like, but like, who knows? Like there's so many different reasons of why we're treated the way we're treated. And there's a hierarchy at every level of oppression in minorities. And even with us being black, we still have privileges as black men, or you being like a heterosexual black man, and then there's black women. So the totem pole literally sometimes has them at the end. So for them to feel that, and it's a lot about how you feel, and it's a part of your mental that makes you or gives you that something to go on.
Yeah.
So I was that's why I wanted to vote for Hillary. Besides, I'm like, I'm gonna just vote for her because I feel like women need it.
Yeah. And
when she lost, I was like, how foolish of me to think that America was going to let a woman be president after a black man.
Exactly.
Like, how foolish of me. I felt like I was stupid. I felt like somebody got me. I was just like, oh man, I trusted them. I was like, I
let down
them.
almost.
I was in the bathroom for like 40 minutes. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was like, this was her race. How'd she lose? And then I was like, I'm stupid. Like, I really thought, I was like, it was so much hope. I was just so hopeful. I was like, really, but it was like more than that. It was almost delusional because I want so badly for it to change.
Right.
And then when it came back, I was like, of course.
Of course. Like, this is what was supposed to happen, quote unquote. Like,
and then I realized, I was like, we really about to just get back to like we really had Obama for 8 years and that was it. And it was like, it was a different type of lifetime just to feel and just to have that family there. And I'm like, I don't know what's going to be next. I'm glad for Kamala Harris, and I'm very excited to see if this will set her up maybe to be the first female president and female president of color. Like, man, and I would love to live to see that,
Yeah, exactly.
Just think of our families our members who live to see Obama be president.
Right.
It was not something that they probably ever thought was tangible. And now we watching these people just, I can't believe they got in there.
Yeah.
They were climbing on the walls.
And like, even worse, they were being escorted and they were opening up the gates.
Yeah, they were walking by. They were just walking by them. I was like, and I know a lot of people, or some white people are like, why are you saying this isn't your fight? And it's this thing, I don't know if it's vengeance or just, I can't explain it into words. I'm sure somebody else could, but to see something happen knowing damn well you don't have that same opportunity to do that, you wouldn't be treated that way. It's like, man, what? It's just not fair. Even when something like that's happening that you don't even want to personally do.
Exactly, right.
I would never even I'm not going to do that. Like,
but just the fact, like, there's one thing to not want to do it, right? But it's another thing to not be able to do it.
Right, I'm not even able to, like, I'm too afraid to even think about it. I'm like, nah, they ain't about to kill me. Like, they damn near shit. I only got to do nothing but ride down the street to get that.
Right.
It's like to not even, like I said, we just want even. That's how I feel about being a queer person. It's like people are like, y'all just want to be, we just want to be treated the same.
Right.
Nothing more. We just want the even playing field. But that takes the people who are in this position to not be in this position anymore. I think they need to switch it up. People be in the same position for 40 years. No, we're going to switch this up.
Yeah.
We need some women up in here. We need some, I think the government should represent what America looks like.
I agree.
We all, because it's different cultures. It is different cultures. You have one culture running a place full of diverse cultures. And it's like we live in a bubble. Yeah. We don't have the power. That's why I say, and this might be outlandish, but I'm like, black people can't be racist not because we can't be racist. I'm like, racism is power. What type of generational effect could do we have as a group on a mass group of people. We can't stop generational wealth. Damn it, we can't build it. We can't stop people from doing things. Like, we can't move people out their homes. We can't take over a neighborhood. Like, we don't have those things to physically change and make that type of change. We can be prejudiced and hateful as hell. Yeah. But racism is a abundance of animal, power that we just don't have. We ain't in charge of flying over to other countries and, you know, taking everything they got. And I'm so interested. Like, I have my godsons in the military, and I'm just like, what does the news look like, you know, like when they're talking about us over there? Because I know, like, you know what I think is arrogant? I was watching this last night. Don Lemon was, you know, on his tangent about 45, as he should be. But what I think is so arrogant and it's perpetuated all the time is when they're speaking and they're like, we're the greatest nation on the planet. Yeah. The best nation in the whole world. It's always like that. It's like hip hop to me. It's like, I'm like, what is that saying? What type of message is that? Why do you always got to remind us that? Like, you making us feel better,
especially
for what?
when they're delivering bad news. They like to throw that in there when they're delivering bad news.
The greatest nation and that to ever exist. It's like, what?
We're the greatest nation, but we just let all these terrorists invade our capital. Like, how great
our terrorists,
right?
And it's like, so go ahead, tell me what happened to all the great nations before us, huh? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, right.
Go
right.
ahead. So just be great. Just be like, my lovely people, you're great. But it's saying, when they say it like that, you're putting themselves up here. And it's power, it's bullying, it's all of those things that we know are happening. And it's the United States. I'm like, come on. Let's talk about changing the Constitution. It was written in a time where people own us. Like, no, things need to change, and it has not. Except, and then they send all of us to jail. Except, and then you will return to your... It's still happening, y'all. Yeah. It's in our faces. But I'm like, you know, I have a sister who's been in jail since I was, 19. I went to see a prison full of women. It's just like, wow, they were in chains, like even that. I know people deserve to get consequences for their actions, but where's the rehabilitation in it? And like, to see so many of, and I know people commit crimes to go to jail, but the setup, which is racism, which is power that we don't have. We don't have, what structure did we put in place to mess up homes? I was gonna say to fuck up homes, to fuck up homes for years to come, for a group of people for generations. Like the system, like when I see people, I'm like, I just know, like, they just don't have any know-how or know better from above them. Yep. Like, even when I see younger kids or younger guys, I be like, I met two young dudes recently. One guy got robbed, I got at gunpoint, and then another guy was facing a charge because he had a gun. He was telling me how he was like, I begged the judge, man, I ain't want to go to jail. I was like, nah, you hard. Go to jail.
Right.
Go to jail. Don't beg her. Don't beg for no time off. What? Go to jail. That's what you want. What you doing this for? You this big. It's like, no, go to jail. Don't be sad and don't you dare cry. Because you about that life.
Yeah, exactly.
Go to jail. The other dude, I'm talking to these two young black men, and I'm like, one of you could, like, when they tell you got two ways in, is the jail or the cemetery, I'm like, you could have been in jail and you could have been dead. These things, these examples are happening to me in my face. And I was so sad because, my youngest brother is around their age. I was so sad because I'm like, I can't do nothing to even get them to think differently. I want to help, but I'm like, I don't even know them. And even for me to care about them so much, they probably think it's like strange, but I'm like, I'm scared for you. I don't want you dead. And the one guy sounded like he got set up by one of his friends. And he was telling the story, and people are speaking around the truth. I'm like, that just don't make sense. Like,
yeah.
Broad daylight? And then more of it came out. I was like, oh, yeah, you was doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing.
Yeah, you ain't tell that part.
Right,
of the
you
story.
ain't say how it happened. You helped this happen to you, but that is a part of that system, the systemic racism that is like invisible. Now we'll say they got that game on lock. Okay, they said, all right, we can't have niggas out here in the fields. We're going to have to come up with something else.
Something else.
And nigga probably came up with it. Listen, Dave Chappelle had this, his stand-up, I can't remember, I think it's Sticks and Stones. And he was like, so he was like, you want to see my impression of the Declaration of the Constitution being written? He was like he stood in the corner. He was like, hurry up, nigga, I'm trying to go to bed. And I was like, because they probably wrote it. I was like, oh my goodness. And, you know, Dave has been under a lot of fire, but I was so happy when he came back doing comedy and he just was doing it the same way, fearless.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's how he's always been.
But with a message. And we have jumped to a lot of things, but that brings me to like hip hop. And even when I listen to, I've been listening to some local artists' music, and I know sometimes the message is like separate from the artistry. Yeah. But sometimes, like for me, I think that's for certain artists. Like for me, mine's is like almost one and the same because that's how I use my voice. Yeah. Like literally almost all the time in every lyric. So sometimes in certain music, what's projected is different than what a person's saying off their albums. Like I've wanted to go to those hip hop league things, but to me it's just like I watch violent movies and stuff, but it's so violent to me, and I'm like, is there ever a theme like, you know, no cursing? How many bars do you have? No cursing this time. Because every time I see one, they like talk about like killing each other, killing somebody's family, fucking somebody's baby mom. I'm like, prove it. Because you don't look that good, sir. You look dusty. Your hair's uneven. But I'm like, what else could you talk about? But like I'm like, I know it's like a part of it, but I'm like, people look forward to it, or even would go into doing things so they could just have it to say. But I'm like, why is it? And I don't know if it's every single time, but when I see the clips, I'm like, and not just here. I was using it as an example because I was watching a couple clips of some people versus them, and I'm just like thinking like if I would like to go there, especially like just to cover it. Right. But I'm like, and you know, sometimes things pop off. And I don't like to go nowhere where people done shot at least once. I'm like, sorry, I can't go back. I'm sorry. It gotta be the daytime for me on a Sunday morning. Right. Or it gotta be a time where those people and you ain't even up yet. Okay. Right. But I'm like, why is it so violent majority of the time?
And most of the time they're, like you said, just saying it just to project.
It's almost like shock value.
Yeah. Just to make themselves seem more appealing or interesting to the audience. But I found, well, at least me personally as a hip hop fan, I found that I connect with artists who are more genuine, like their raps line up with how they are in real life, because the faker you are, the less entertaining you are to me.
That's where people become like kind of like just carbon copies of one another, and it's hard to tell people apart, or even like the sound. And even for me, with the people who are like of the status of artists that we listen to, sometimes I don't know who is who, or people sound so similar. I don't even know if somebody's rapping or singing now. Not that it's a problem, but I'm like, I thought Roddy Ricch was a singer at first. I'm like, I can't tell because it's like so much auto-tune. And there's this one guy, Ty Dolla $ign. I think he's a singer. But I'm like, but it was I'm like, it sounds like what everyone else is doing, like back and forth, and then you just identify. But I mean, Lizzo identifies as a rapper first, and you know, people are like, she a singer. I'm like, no, she can actually sing though. The rappers who are using auto-tune to sing, male and female. I'm like, you know, don't not classify her as a singer, as a rapper, if you don't not classify Future as, because that's what she said. She was like, if Future's a rapper, so am I. But she actually sings versus like auto-tune. Or her lyrical style of rap isn't you know, delivered like a Cardi or a Nicki. So they're like, oh no, you're a singer. No, she can just sing too, and rap. But when it comes to like, when I was speaking on the battle rap thing, I'm just like, I wonder why. I wish there was like a thing to tell somebody come in here and just like even challenge them. Just because like, you're gonna come back each week and be talking about killing somebody, you're gonna talk about fucking somebody baby mom. And I'm not saying that's the basis all the time, but it's just, I'm like, why is it so violent? It's very prominent for sure. They need to come up with some better subject value, something to challenge the artists, just to like kind of think outside the box or just have both, you know, like, cause there's nothing like people like feel good music too, but I'm like the message, like even Meg got a song, Body. I like the song, but at one part of it, she'd be like 8 months later and we still ain't got no justice for Breonna Taylor. And I was like, wait, in my head, I'm like, ass, message, Black Power. I was like, oh shit, we stuck about ass. And now,
like you threw me off.
Like it's cool, but I was just like, because I had a conversation about when I was so upset when men and the black men are like, how could they make WAP during these times? I'm like, what? It's a song. This song ain't what we need. And I was like, for me, I'm like, when that's who they are as artists, and it is not their job to just, if they don't have to talk about like the times. But I'm like, I was trying to think, I'm like, I don't know, I couldn't hear them like making that type of song because this is what they do.
Right.
I'm sure they can make that type of song, but this is like way outside.
Who they are.
You know, it's way outside of who they are. And I'm like, they don't owe us that. People act like artists owe them something.
Yeah.
Like they make this for them. If you like it, you like it. That's what I do. You know, I can't make it for you because I don't know if you're going to like it.
Exactly.
And then if I'm making it just for you, then what?
Then
what
everybody else going to be disappointed. Like, oh, they didn't make the song for me. Like, I wasn't trying to make it for you.
What did you think of WAP when it came out?
Hey, look, I'm not really a fan of that type of rap music, but I support it. I mean, she can say and do whatever she want on the record.
Did you see the video?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
What did you think of the video?
I liked the video.
I support these messages. I did not have relations with this woman. I support this message. This is Paris Wallace, and I support this message.
Right. Get the stamp of approval.
I really like that they were dancing. I was like, that's more entertainment. Like people rag on Cardi or say whatever they want about Meg, but I'm like, they had choreography. It was thought out. It was funny. It was a little campy. It was just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And it just took your mind a little bit off of like what was going on.
What was really going on, right?
And that's what music does. It is an escape. But I do feel like a lot of men were like, oh, I went to get my hair cut one time and the barber was like, yeah, man, I just ain't like, you know, I just felt like it was the wrong time. I'm like, when I walked in, the music you were listening to was so violent.
Right.
And he knows the person who, he was like, oh, this one of my friends. And I'm like, but WAP is there?
There's a problem?
But
like,
not WAP?
Right.
It was a disconnect for me. So, you know, I'm going to get into some more things. You know, the state of America is not in our hands.
Nope.
Like, you know, and I saw some, the woman, I don't know her last name, and I need to actually find out more about her because Beyonce got this song called Black Parade, and she said, called Tamika, I think I need another march or something. And I'm like, I think this is one of the women who have been organizing the marches, and I think this is actually the same woman. I just found like her Twitter, and she was like, black people, this is not your fight. Y'all stand back and let the government deal with these white people. And a bunch of white people, I just reposted a bunch, some white people got on my post and they're like, this is our fight. These are the United States. I'm like, where has this energy been all of this time?
Right.
And there was a young guy I know, and over the last few years, I've seen him get a little bit more peaceful because he used to be one of those, this is my Confederate flag. It doesn't mean this. It means this to me. I'm like, again, you can't change the meaning of it. You just can't say this means this to me now. Like, this is Coca-Cola, but it's Pepsi to me.
Right. It means Pepsi.
It's not. No, it's not. I think it tastes more like Pepsi. No, it's Coca-Cola. You just can't change the meaning of things, especially. But he has definitely calmed down, and I think he's trying more, but because he kept telling me, he was like, this is our fight. I'm here for you, all of you guys. I'm like, yeah, thanks, but you're not I was like, you know what? You're actually the minority.
Yeah.
You never understand what it feels to be a minority, but I'm like, you're the minority. The people who look like you don't think like you. That's why I'm like, the government needs to be made up of people who are America, men, women, genderqueers, people of different ethnicities, because it is that made up of that. Even the people who founded the country. This is not their native land. That's why when people be like, go back to your country, I'll be like, we might be from the same one. Like, how dare you? You're not from here.
Right.
And that's just like the mindset of like who we're dealing with. Somebody told me I don't know if I was reading it or I think I was reading it somewhere, and it said 40% of people are going to just go with it anyway. Like, they're not going to read too much into it. They're just going to just keep going with the flow, listen to what's being told of them, because they don't want to think that hard. And I'm like, look, I think shit is all messed up. I don't have a solution, and I couldn't imagine being in a seat like that and trying to have some type of structure for over 300 million people.
Yeah.
So when they're like, we need peace, could you imagine, like, you don't agree with your household? We all don't even agree in our home. We don't all agree in our classroom. 30 people. We all don't agree at a basketball game, just bringing it a little bigger. Then you go to your, like, the east side and the south side. Then you got the city. Then you got the other areas. Then you got the state. Like, that's so many different people. We're all different. There's different points of views. 300 million people. Then the world. What world peace where?
Yeah.
I've been trying to think of it. How would this work? It doesn't.
It doesn't. And they keep trying to force that idea down our throats. And it's like, at this point, you're causing more oppression than you are unity. And
I'm trying to figure out how I could play a part in it. Cause had you gone to any protests when they were happening?
Yeah. Actually, last, I want to say, it might have been late July, early August. There was, whenever the protest was downtown, me and a small group of friends, we all showed up, dressing all black with our Black Lives Matter t-shirts on, black hats, black gloves, black masks, all that. And we were marching down Main Street in downtown, Federal Street.
Well, that's our main street. That's our strip.
Federal Street.
Our strip is this big.
Right.
Where you going out tonight? The only
only place.
I'm sorry, I ain't going to Dukas. You ain't about to catch me every red room of Dukas. Sorry, y'all have fun there, but you ain't gonna see me there.
Right.
But even now, like, after I saw that stuff yesterday, like, I know you said you, like, were feeling angry. I feel like fear, because I'm like, we can't fight weapons of mass destruction. That's where, like I said, they have power. Like, if it came down to something like that, they have the military who just go out and fulfill orders. Like how Magneto, the dude who killed Magneto's mom, he was like, I was just doing my job. And Magneto was like, I was just doing my job. Like,
right.
But that's like how it is. They're just going out fulfilling duties, even being in other countries, doing things that they don't even, it's their orders.
And you can't refuse them or else you go to jail. Like,
who knows?
Yeah.
There's so many restrictions. Like, even when it comes down to, like, the world, it's like, I was born on the earth. This is my earth. This is my home. All of it. But people own it. You can't go to certain places. The restrictions. It's like, you don't own the world. It's just crazy. I'm sorry. I'm on an enlightenment trail. So I just don't. It's just crazy. And I'm like, I have understood and accepted that the things we do today is not for me. It's for the future and the future generations. And I understand it now.
Yep.
I accept it now. And I'm willing to do what I have to do. I was actually afraid to go protest because I'm like, what if something happens and something ended up happening to people we know? And I'm like, but what if that was more people? I don't for a second think that we couldn't be a small town where somebody gets shot or something happens and becomes one of those, big
one of those
towns.
names.
Like, I for a second don't think that couldn't happen to us. So I was, sometimes my first reaction is fear. And I'm like, I know, like, that's not my lane. But I felt so bad because I felt like I wasn't helping or being a part of it. And then I didn't want to just get on social media or do a podcast because I felt like, I'm like, well, I don't want to use this for anything. I don't want it to come across like that. And I just was so stuck because I didn't know what to do. I'm like, well, it's not like I'm actually a journalist, but I just had to remind myself. But I saw like two things. This drag queen, Bob the drag queen, who I love, said, Black people are so traumatized that they're afraid to just work, even people who do and monetize off of this. And I was like, wow. And then the great Nina Simone. I tell you, I discovered new songs by Nina Simone all the time. And I'm like, she was magnificent and
one of the greatest.
Fearless, bold, like just strong. She reminds me of like Grace Jones, just a version of the singer of her.
Yeah.
But she had this is what really made me get back into it. A quote that says, "It is an artist's duty to reflect the times." And then that's when I didn't feel guilty anymore about writing about it or speaking on it. And I just wanted to hear how people in our city were feeling.
Yeah, and I actually the same exact day that we went out and protested, like right before I went home to get dressed and get ready to go, I actually recorded a poem almost, or like spoken word. I was in my office. I have an office where I used to work, and I was sitting there, and it took me maybe about a week to write what I wanted to say, because I wanted to come across as one, like I knew what I was talking about. I didn't want to just put words out there that would
just to say something.
Exactly right. I wanted the meaning to be powerful, and I wanted people to understand it. So when I recorded it, it took me a couple takes because I felt so much emotion in the moment. Just like it was very powerful, and I wanted to make sure that I was getting my message out there. So I recorded it, I posted it, and then I just put my phone on airplane mode and went to the protest downtown, and just I wanted to feel like I was both saying something and doing something. I didn't want to just speak and not do anything, and I didn't want to do anything without saying anything either.
Do you feel like you're willing to give your life for the cause?
If it came down to it, yes. As long as I know I wasn't alone, I'd want to feel like I'm a part of something bigger. If it came down to it, because nobody wants to die for nothing, of course. But if I can just inspire just one person or two people or a small group of people to feel enough hope inside of themselves to do something about it, then that means my death wasn't in vain.
It's so crazy. Like, we are a part of people who have just been fighting just to be in a place where we are just have these weights off our back. Like, come on. God damn. It's like, y'all, we got it. That's how, like, it's not even now. I'm like, this might go into the arrogance of ourselves. It's like, well, we just that damn great. Y'all just hate it so much. There's something about it. Like, what is it? I say that, I'm like, they saw us new, and then that's when they was like, hell no. No. Hell no. That's what no,
we can't let that happen.
Get them out of here. But even after all of it, after I wrote this song, it's just a remix, and like part of the song is like, I put like, you continue undefeated, can you handle it? One second. God dang it, I'm gonna look these lyrics up because I can't, y'all. I have such a bad thing. I write a lot and I do a lot and I work a lot. Yeah. So I'm like, what are these words? Moment major. Sorry, we gonna find this. What I don't even know what's the name of the song. I'm so mad right now because my phone is recording and I can't just get up and go to that. Hold on, y'all, for 1 second. We're gonna find this. I ain't gonna find it though. I know I'm not gonna find it because I actually don't know what part of. It's called Major for Life, I think.
Oh, like Moment for Life?
Yeah, I made a remix to the song, which I've been trying to do for like 8 years, and I finally did it. Let me just type in some of the lyrics. I do it for. Nope. I can't. I don't know where these lyrics are. I'm so upset. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. I really want to remember this, and I can't, and I'm so mad. Where is this? Oh, I say we be highly melanated, educated. I think dedicated. I said look, we made it. It's amazing how we've gotten this far, because we are all of these things, and even with everything that happens, I'm like, we just like persevere through it all, and I'm like, I think that even fuels the hatred even more. Yeah, because we can't be broken.
Yep.
Through it all, and I think like one of the perfect examples, not perfect, but it's like soul food, or like the scraps that turned into feast or just, trash to treasure. It's like nothing they can do to really break our spirits or the people. And I know when they say that, when we say they, it's not all white people. It's a lot though. And the ones who have the power are white. And that's what it is. And seeing people be like, it's not about race. It's always about race. We're not about to know. No, stop. And also stop. Don't come to this post to talk. Listen. Just listen for a second when we're speaking up about something. Like I said, they don't understand. They don't live these lives every day. They also were not taught. And I learned some of that last year. I'm like, they really weren't taught. Like the things we were taught in school, like unconsciously, like remembering or reminded about slavery all the time. Those images, like they were taught that, but they were just taught different things. And they didn't learn about our culture, but we learned about theirs. That's why there's black films and then there's just films. I'm like, they don't just come see our stuff unless it's like a big mainstream movie, but they don't, except the culture vultures, but they don't just come into that. But let's move on a little bit. Let me get to know you. We talked a lot about this stuff, but so much is just going on. And this is like a part of the podcast where I do have things planned, but I felt like the conversation was just organic and it just was like, it was meaningful. And I just wanted to hear those words. And I want somebody else to hear them too. And that's, again, half the reason why I just wanted to do this is to share stories with each other so people can get to know each other. But especially here, I hope somebody can listen to this here and be like, oh, I didn't even know him, but even think about you being an artist and maybe a collaboration, which brings me to our next segment. And how long have you been an artist?
It's hard to pinpoint. I mean, I grew up in church listening to, I've always been a fan of hip hop, but my parents wouldn't let me listen to certain hip hop, so they
should. Good job.
So they really, my dad put me on to like Christian hip hop, and that's what I listened to the most as a kid. Cross Movement. I mean, the list is too long. Flame, Ambassador, The Truth, The Tonic, Lecrae. Of course, Lecrae is the biggest name in Christian hip hop.
Oh yeah, like I even know who that is.
Yeah, but I grew up listening to their songs because I wasn't really allowed to listen to anything else. So I was in church every Sunday.
For like how long?
Probably until around 2007, 2008, like 7th or 8th grade year. All I listened to was Christian rap. That's the only thing I listened to. And then when I started to, use my brother's computer when he wasn't looking, I started to find other hip hop that I actually liked.
So who did you discover first?
Wale.
Hey, Wale was my boy when he came out.
I found out about Wale in 2008. Well, first, I mean, I consider Wale my first favorite rapper. And he's still one of my favorite rappers of all time.
I just can't believe you discovered it. I mean, that's 8th grade and stuff, but that's just like so long to not even hear.
Nothing. I the only music that I heard outside of Christian rap was whatever was on my brother's iPod. So it was.
So wasn't no Mariah or Whitney on your mom's radio?
Oh yeah. Oh for sure. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, whatever came on the radio, they didn't have no control over that.
Right.
I heard all of it. I mean, shoot, I remember listening to Tupac when I was a kid, and then when I found out that he died, I was like, so I'm not gonna hear him on the radio no more. Like,
what's crazy about Tupac is you lived to be older than he was.
That's crazy.
He was 25.
See, I didn't even know that. I really didn't, and it's just.
And his impact is
worldwide. There's graffiti and people. It's artists that paint him in other countries. China, Japan, wherever you go.
And I feel like when it comes to I feel like people or like hip hop people, like Tupac can't just be looked at as a hip hop artist or like as a rapper. And I see people leaving him out of top list, or some people, it's like always debated really harshly or real hard, but we'll respect. And I just feel like he just expanded so much more than that. And but I mean, like he was 25 and his impact, even when he was alive, until now, I'm like, I can't, like when I gather all of those things, I'm like, wow, I'm older than him now. I'm like, wait, he was 25 when he died and he did all of this? Or he said all of those things as that type of young man?
Exactly.
Wow. But like, so how do you feel about him, like as a rapper or lyricist, or all of the above? Because I see a lot of people like, nah, Pac ain't even in the top 5.
Yeah.
They usually, it's always Biggie and Tupac,
of course,
and Biggie is always put above him.
Mm-hmm. So I will never downplay the impact that he had as an icon across hip hop and across pop culture. He is definitely a prominent figure in the community, in the black community, period. I personally don't like Tupac's music just because I don't like the way he raps. Not because I don't like his message or what he's saying. I don't like if he was saying those same exact words, but he sounded like somebody else, I might like him a little more. You know what I mean? It's not what he's saying, it's how he's saying it. So I think Tupac is one of the most iconic figures in black history. But I personally like Biggie a lot more just because of how he raps. I like Biggie more.
I do think Biggie was the overall like better like rapper, or like how he set up his and structure his raps and like punchlines and like delivery. But it's just like what Pac used to his advantage was like his knowledge and his love. Like we really feel like he loved us all for real. Like he seemed like he was really for the people. Like his mother was Black Panther. It was not like he was real, and I wasn't allowed to really experience it, but my parents listened to him when we were young. He got this song they be like, no matter where I go, I see the same home. And I used to sing that, but I thought he was saying home. I used to get smacked all the time for singing that. But it's just lyrics I'll never forget. Like, when he says Tupac cares if don't nobody else care. And when he be like, I wonder why we hate our women, like, when you don't have a power to create, why you rape your woman, you don't even got a power to create one, talking about a child. Brenda Has a Baby is one of my favorite songs because it's a paragraph. It's from start to finish. He is saying something. And that's how I like to communicate, like, have something to say to me.
Right.
But then he got, I Get Around. That's one of my favorite. when I Get Around, come on.
Right.
I'll be like, hey.
Right. I remember hearing that on the radio as a kid, and I, not really knowing what it meant, but it's just, it was a song that was on.
It's just like, it's just like a little party song, like something they dance into in a house party. But that is what I kind of like use as my like staple when I'm like with artists. It's probably not fair. It's just like what I go down of what I connect to. Yeah. And like if somebody's speaking to me, and you can do a lot of this and still speak to me. You can speak to me one time and I'm like, I'm with you. Right. But if you just bad at live performances, I can't hold you down. Yeah. So I know you went to church with my fiance. I just found out recently. Yeah. And we have some mutual friends / family, but the Green Dynasty.
Yep, of course. Shout out to Green Dynasty,
Best friends. Shout out to Ari and Josh, who both have wonderful podcasts with me. So if you haven't listened to their episodes, go ahead and listen to those. So what do I want to ask you next? We already kind of talked about COVID and stuff. So, last year we lost a lot of people. It was a very tough year. Yeah. And it's January. And this is like, everybody always be like, what's that one celebrity death? I'd be like, but I tell you one thing, when Kobe Bean Bryant died last year, I know exactly where I was.
Yep, me too.
It felt like ice struck through my body.
Yep.
Like, I was like, no. I was in a meeting. I almost shut it down. I was like,
I was at work. I was at the time I worked customer service for an insurance company. I was crying so hard that I asked my supervisor to let me go home. I was hurt, man. I was physically hurt.
I was stunned. Like, I wanted to stop, and then I didn't tell her. I just couldn't. I feel like I couldn't even talk. I was just like, okay. And then I left. I called my brother. I was like, did Kobe die? He was like, yeah. I was just like, he can't die. Like,
right, Kobe.
I was distraught. Yeah. I was just like, and then I'm like, it makes me think. I'm like, I stopped watching basketball kind of when Kobe was out. Even though I ride for LeBron and that's my boy. But like regular season, I don't even get into it that much. But I'm like, I watched that last game. I watched Kobe Bryant
catch that.
Ooh, those 60 points. I was just like, And then when people were like, it was his whole family, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Not his whole family.
Right.
But just the type of accident with his daughter, I was like,
heartbreaking, man.
It was just earth shattering. I got on Vanessa's Instagram a few days ago. I shouldn't have did that. I was just scrolling, like, about to cry. I was about to cry. And I just couldn't imagine, you know, like, the world felt that. I mean, we had signs up on our billboards in town for Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
I ain't never seen that done
In
before.
Youngstown, Ohio.
I ain't never seen that done before. I can't think back to when Michael Jackson died if they did it.
But
I ain't never seen that done before. The whole world. I'm like, I'm like, wow, he really touched us all.
Absolutely. And another person whose impact kind of extended past their craft. He was a basketball player, but he was also a coach. So any coach could relate to him. Any father could relate to him. He was a filmmaker. He won awards. He won an award,
an Oscar.
Yep.
Him, it's just something that some people have. That's just like the start of the flame. And definitely Ali. I felt it with Ali, even though like that's past, but it's just that fire. Jordan, it's what I feel like LeBron doesn't have as great as he is, even though it's harder to tell with team sports. Serena Williams, Kobe was just like great, and he wanted to be so bad, and he was like, to see him hungry and sustain that hunger for like his whole career. And like the way he just attacked it. And I think, again, that's why people feel like LeBron is what they call soft. I'm like, that man is 6'8", 250. He is not soft. Like, he's doing the thing. And like, he's done some impossible thing. He has done impossible. Like, he has done the impossible. But just the way Kobe attacked things, like hearing the stories about him and Shaq, like, oh, you stole on Shaq?
Yeah.
Like, he was not. He said, it's the ME in that mother. Like, he just had, like, you felt that. Even, like, you knew he did not play. He did not take it lightly. In press conferences, like, you just knew it was not a joke, and this man was serious about this. And you have to respect that. Yeah,
absolutely. That type of passion is something that you don't see every day. It's definitely like a once in a life. He's definitely a once in a lifetime type of person. Like, and it's like I said, it showed outside of basketball. He was like that in absolutely every aspect of his life.
And it doesn't happen with that many people. People don't expand and get world love like that. Like, a lot of times, a lot of people love you, a lot of people hate you. And I must say, I don't remember Kobe. Maybe I don't personally remember Kobe getting a lot of Kobe hate like LeBron get. LeBron hate.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't remember that. I know people be like, oh, I love Kobe, but he ain't Jordan. But I'm like, I don't remember people hating on Kobe.
See, they didn't have social media back then. They was hating. They just wasn't
you're right. Yeah, we get to see a lot more, you know.
Right. It's a lot more visible now.
Those keyboard thugs. You right. But
Twitter fingers.
Even in conversation, I'm just like, cats love. We just all love, Kobe. Like, it's just, oh man, it's like, I just feel so cheated.
Yeah.
I just feel so cheated. I'm like, wow. And I felt the same way, similar when our king died.
Chadwick.
Who I tell you, I was just like,
yep.
He was our guy.
Yeah, he was. Basically Denzel Washington's protege.
He was our guy for our generation.
Yeah.
Like, he was the next, like, I mean, he was amazing. He was in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. If you have not watched
I haven't seen it yet. I will.
Because first of all, Viola Davis. Because first of all, Miss Annalise Keating, Anna Mae, Viola Davis is just astonishing to me. And the two of them in that film, I followed Chadwick. I used to watch a show called Lincoln Heights. I named my first car after his character on that show.
Wow.
Nate Ray Mobley. I named my car Nate Ray Mobley Jr. And then I just followed his career after that. He was in smaller films. Then he was Jackie Robinson. Then he was James Brown. And I want to say he was Thurgood Marshall.
Yep, Floyd Kelly.
He was several people. Yep. I was like, he's amazing. And when I heard he was going to be the Black Panther, I was just like, wow. I remember being in the theater with seeing so many young black kids' faces. And I'm like, this is going to be so great for them. because I had to explain something to some kids a few weeks back, maybe a month or so. They were like, he looks like Superman. I'm like, the one thing about it is because Superman is this type of person, what he looks like. Now every guy who walks around with sharp features, that little hair,
the curl,
they're gonna be like, he looks like Superman. But you represent a hero, somebody that everyone loves, somebody that everyone thinks is attractive, just somebody that somebody has looked up to. Most of those figures are white already.
Yep.
So to have the Black Panther for our children is, to me, like, what is important. I'm like, those are the intangible things that you can't like really put on paper for people to learn to do, but just to see their faces and to know that all of those things that are just going to be put in the back of their heads, even like his sister on there, was just seeing them be smart, or just seeing them be more than just the heroes in the movie, and just seeing the family, and just seeing your people as more from different ways around the world. That's just what is like the excitement. And it's like he transcended our minds to really think Wakanda was real.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is what artistry does. And whether you know it or not, you do the same thing for people here. And all you have to do half the time, most of the time, is just be yourself. And you don't know what it will do for anybody. So speaking of artistry, what artists around here would you love to collaborate with that you haven't, or would just like to?
Well, I'm a big fan of Big Biz Grizz. I consider him a good friend, not just a buddy or a pal or someone I just say hey to all the time. I consider him a good friend. We talk about music. We share a producer. My best friend Darian produced some songs on his album that just came out, Couch. So I'm a big fan of Grizzlies.
Oh yeah, I heard it.
Yeah,
I love the skits.
Yeah, Grizz is so creative, man. Grizz is one of the most
Grizz has
creative
the full
people
package.
I agree. Music videos. If you follow him on Instagram, he's always playing this character called my cousin Orloff, and he was on his album. Like, he's great. Grizzly could be successful in any path that he chooses, because he's someone, like you say, who has that spark, and he just wants to be great, and he attacks everything that he does.
He's gonna continue to do it no matter where it leads him. Like, he has a passion for it. He has a really nice passion for it, really strong passion for it, and it's good. It's nice to see. It's good to see. And to me, he raps. He can do it on levels of, like, this is entertainment, but this is also a message. Like, I have something to say, more than just cursing and just partying, or just like, not nonsense, but just like, just feel good. Like, I like a message too. Or we're like, who are you? What do you stand for? What are you speaking about? Is this your love? Are you passionate? Because you can hear I can tell the difference when people are just saying the words and what they feel. Because I'm like, oh, you felt this song. The other three, but you felt this. Something about this was riding on you. But I'm just thinking about the consistency with it all. So there were several albums that were dropped this year, and I'm talking about, like, for me, locally, like, who are some of the favorite songs or artists that you've heard drop some music this year?
So definitely Grizzly. I really liked Ron Johnny. Big fan of his as well. He consistently puts out great music that I like. So him.
I really like Straight Like This. I can't remember the names of the songs. I wrote them down somewhere, but I definitely remember the title, Straight Like This.
Yeah. Pretty much everything he puts out is a hit. It's another guy from here, but I don't know if he lives here anymore. He might live somewhere else. But Youngstown Young is a name I constantly see in all over Facebook, all over social media. His music is really good. Too. Yeah.
Is he light skinned guy?
No.
Oh no. I said I seen his name now. I ain't said I seen his face. He's like, yeah, no, that's not him.
That ain't him. But I know he's from here because I went to school with him, but I don't know if he still lives here anymore. He might live out of town, but his music is really dope. Also, I'm a fan of, I know you brought up, like, Chris Lombardi. I've seen him perform live a couple times. I've heard some of his songs on his mixtape. I like it. And it's probably somebody really dope that I'm forgetting about. I can't think of everybody right now, but definitely Grizz, definitely Ron Johnny, Youngstown Young, and Chris Lombardi. Those are the names I constantly see floating around.
Yeah, I definitely also see those names. I have seen Johnny perform. It's been a while though, but I've known him since I was younger. But I love his style because
very unique.
It's unique, and it just is old school in the sense of just the sound. It's a vibe. It's like peaceful, but it reminds me of the 90s.
Right.
And everybody loved the 90s. You just can't get back. You just want to be like, and straight like this, and straight, and a Black Casper. I loved his album, right, man. And I ain't gonna, locally, I'm always like, I be hesitant, but I'm hesitant when I listen to any artist's music. I'm like, I hope I like this, because I'm gonna be honest about it. But I really ended up enjoying his album more than I thought I would. And there was this dude on there, Shells, who had a song on.
I shout out to Shells. I forgot about him.
I love how he delivers his music. He is wild.
His lyricism
so much
is
energy. It's like Tasmanian Devil.
Crazy.
I haven't heard any music by just him. And congratulations to him, because he just got married. Him and his lovely wife, Carisha.
Shout out to Carisha. I used to work with Carisha.
And I didn't. So I'm mutual friends with her through Kiva. I was like, oh, that's who you married? Like, I don't know him, but I know him through Casper. And I was like, I didn't even make.
It's a small
two
world.
and two together. Because I was wondering. I was like, I know she had a boyfriend that got kids, but I just don't remember who he is.
Right.
And I was like, oh, congratulations when you see her. And then I was like, that's his. I saw it on story, Black Casper's story. I was like, come to find out what? Oh, now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
But I loved his album. I listened to your mixtape. I mean, it was only for a few songs.
Yeah.
And I told you every time it was over, I was like, is that it?
But like I left you want more a little bit.
I love your delivery. And again, I know like it just feels like it means something to you and you're enjoying it. And I like level up. But the intro song when you were like a pedophile couldn't touch the kid. I was like, whoa. It was so funny. You said something similar like that, I think, in Level Up. It was, I can't remember though, but I was gonna write it down, but I was like, I love a punchline that just kind of it was like,
it stick with you. Like,
I wasn't expecting that, but okay, you think you're clever, don't you? But it was really entertaining, and it was like I said, it was so short. But I think that's smart also, because it's like I kept listening to it, and I don't even know how many times I did, but it's like I wanted to hear more, but you just gave like a nice enough amount for somebody to enjoy it and want to come back for more. Or keep listening to that and be expecting the next thing.
Right. And that was just like my debut. It's something that I've been kind of working towards for a long time. Like I said, I've been rapping and making music on all my other friends' mixtapes and featuring on their songs and stuff for years. And so this was just it was time for me to put out something of my own. So.
Why do you think you waited so long?
Fear. Honestly, fear and always wanting it to be perfect. And until I realized that, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be perfect anyway. Because, I could always do better. I could always say it better. It could always sound a little bit better no matter what. So I just stopped. It was in the middle of COVID. I was just sitting at home like, you know what?
Yeah.
Why not? Why? This is the best time. Maybe this is God showing me that you got time. You sitting down.
Especially seeing other people. I'm like, everybody else is doing everything. I'm tired of watching everybody else do everything. Not like in that type of way, but I'm like, I'm always watching everybody do things I say I want to do. I just got to do it.
Exactly. That whole quarantine was a blessing in disguise for me. I started my own YouTube channel from nothing. I literally would sit and watch YouTube videos and teach myself how to do stuff and then go do it. And then with music, it was just like, okay.
With Adele. It's like.
Not a Mac.
Not a Mac.
But Adele. Yeah, you're right. And I was just like you said, I was sick of sitting on the sidelines and watching other people score.
Or I'm like, live your dreams, essentially. It's like, I have the capability to do it myself, but I'm just going to keep sitting here and be like, man, I want to do that. Like, but nah, not no more.
Exactly.
And
that was the right time.
My quote of the year. You can follow it and you can throw it on YouTube. But fear is an emotion. Danger is a situation. So when you think when you're afraid, there's really nothing to fear because you're not in danger.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the only time you're afraid. So you weren't in danger to not write music.
Exactly.
So you should not have been afraid. So
the
I've
only
been
thing to
trying
fear
remind
is fear itself.
The only thing to fear is fear itself. You know? So again, we spoke about, I got my little checklist here, y'all. I've been trying to keep myself on track because when I don't hit things, I'm like, oh, I really want to talk about that, but I'm pleased with what we have talked about. Mm-hmm. I've gotten to know you some more throughout. And again, like when speaking about like what's going on now in America, I'm weary, not weary, but it's like, what is also with COVID? Like, what? I don't even mind wearing a mask, but I'm like, things are already like just, right. They're already, and now here we are. I'm like, I'm already always in danger. I already been black my whole life. Now I'm double black. Yeah. Like now it's just, what is this? What is this going to mean for us? Because it means something different for us than it means for most or the majority. Mm-hmm. But I do think because the majority is becoming the minority, shit is going crazy. They're like, now. I'm like, yes, yes. like, yes, it is. Just go ahead, take that seat. Go ahead, take that back seat. Get into the back of the bus. But even when I was saying earlier how we flip things, like, riding in the back of the bus, riding in the front, then you get into school, all you do is want to ride in the back of the bus. So nobody want to be in the front. You fight for seats. Yeah, fight for a seat.
Fight for the back, right.
You be 4 people to a seat trying to be, I want to sit here. Look at all those free seats in the front. Get out of here.
Like, nah, I don't want to sit up there.
Right, but it has been a great time speaking with you. I'm excited to hear what you do have coming next. What is your YouTube channel called?
YouTube channel, you can find me. It's just my name, Paris STEPHAN, my middle name.
Okay, Paris STEPHAN.
Paris STEPHAN. That's my artist name. That's my YouTube channel name. My YouTube channel is really mostly focused around gaming because I am a sponsored gamer as well. But
what does that mean?
Basically, if I wanted to compete in a tournament for like money, I have someone who would pay my entry fee as long as I give them a portion of any funds that I win.
Oh, so have you done that?
Yes.
Oh, I see people do that, and I see them online, and I'm like, why are they recording themselves? Like, yeah. But I'm like, oh, that's just the boys. It's like, I ain't got no interest in. I can't. Every time I buy a game system, I'm like, stop. I be thinking about it. I'm like, I want to no. Because it's going to collect dust and I'm going to sell it. Yeah. I've done it 3 times. I bought a PS3 and I bought a PS4. So I was like, stop getting these things. I don't have time to play because usually I'm working and working on something else. So I'm like,
right. I need to be doing that instead of playing PlayStation so much.
Right. I'm like, I need to invest my time. I only was trying to play 2K, but I couldn't even get that good at it. I'm like, well, I'm not about to be wasting time learning how to play just to go lose to everybody. I play. That defeats the purpose. I can barely beat the computer. I'm trying to play on Hall of Fame, and I'm on Pro. I'm thinking I'm doing the damn thing, and I'm on Pro. I'm like, oh, well. I've been playing on Pro this whole time, and I go play my friends, and they like Hall of Fame. And I'm like, it don't shoot the same. Dang. And I ain't about to just keep doing something I'm losing at. I'm like, you know what? I gave it up. So is there any questions that you would like to ask me? Is there anything, I did want to ask you one more thing. I don't remember. Do you remember the first time we met?
Yes, I actually do. Shout out my brother, Chris Gunther. I communicate with him a lot. Talk to him pretty much every day.
Absolutely.
Open gym hoop session at church, Mount Calvary.
Oh, that cafeteria floor that I will never play on.
Yeah. That's that because I had heard about you before through Facebook and through social media. I never met you in real life.
Oh, I remember now. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Yep. So you showed up one day. I was like, hey, he looked familiar. And then, just through the basketball game, we got to talking. And you were like, oh, you're Ariel's cousin. Like, yes, yes.
Yeah, because I had heard about you.
So, yeah, and then you stepped out on the court. You hit a whole bunch of threes, and I was like, okay, I like this dude. He need to be on my team more often.
Right.
So that was the first time that I had actually met you, but I had heard about you.
What was your first impression?
My first impression of you, I didn't expect you to be that good at basketball.
Why not?
Because you were real skinny.
Oh,
you were real skinny.
I feel like a brick house over here. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm strong over here. Don't count us out. Okay?
I'm like, okay, I've heard of you, but I never heard about you through basketball. It was on music and artistry.
Because I've retired. Look, I'm a 4th tier playground legend, and people don't know. I am.
I saw it firsthand. I didn't expect you to be that good at basketball because you didn't look like a basketball player. So I mean, I don't really know what a basketball player looks like, but
Right.
I didn't expect you to be good at basketball. Let's just.
That's okay, because I'll tell you, I can tell how people walk sometimes. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Ain't about to do it. You know, I gave myself a nickname for basketball. People would be like, what's your name? I would be like, who got him? Because every time we played, people didn't think I looked like a basketball player. I'm like, I don't know why you think that. I'm about to burn y'all. Like,
yeah,
like,
and you did.
And they would be like, 3 layups. They'd be like, who got him?
Who got him?
Nobody. Nobody has me. And they would just be like, you know what I love the most is when somebody walk up to me, like taller than me or a little bit bigger than me, and they're like, mismatch. I'm like,
like what?
So I play fundamental basketball, and I'm about to dog you because you think you're strong. Yeah, you're strong out top, but it's about these legs.
Yeah, right.
Bottom. Because I'm about to box you out of bounds, and I'm gonna get this
the rebound
because I can jump higher than everyone out here.
Yeah,
and I'm faster than everybody out here. You're not going to see me most of this game. But like Julio had a game like day one time. It was so much fun, and we dogged these dudes out on the court. And you know, my team voted me MVP. I definitely had the most points. You know, I was out there hooping. But I had this dude on my team like who was talking trash to me.
As a teammate.
Yeah. But so when his first time seeing me, I walked up to him. I was like, hey, I'm on your team for the basketball game. Now, mind you, I have on earrings, like long earrings, and high heels. He looked me up and down like
what?
I was like, and this is where I got the line from. I wrote this rap song called Tolerate, and I'll explain that to you after we off air. But I said to him, I was like, oh, don't let the earrings fool you. And I said, and don't let the heels fool you because I get down. But he was just like, who'd you play for? I was like, who did you play for? Like, I'm like, I have credits. Like, you can Google me. I have credits. I'm a 4th tier playground legend, like I said. And he was like, I played for Cheney. I said, when you played for Cheney? You played at Cheney. Nigga, I played for Cheney. And then he was like, well, I ain't play on the team.
Exactly. You ain't play for Cheney.
You was about to lie. He hit the first 2 threes of the game. He ain't do nothing for us after
the
that.
rest of the game.
And I'm like, it was one of those things where, you know, it was like for fun. So we had 2 strings. So Ron Johnny was on my team. It was me, Ron Johnny, this dude named Craig.
Craig Randall?
No. I know him. But I forgot what he does. It was this dude named like you can guess all you want. I don't think I know his last name. I don't think I'm ever tell you. It was this dude named Dwayne. His brother's name is Braylon, and he got an older brother named Dondre, but I can't remember his last name. But I might do artistry too. I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember what this was. It was a few years ago. I'm 30 now. You know, my mind's gone. But it was that dude B How. He a rapper.
Okay, I heard of him.
He hit a couple of threes. He's like this. He like yay high. Who else was on my team? It was me. This dude named Dizzy Hendrix.
Dizzy, I know Dizzy.
And me and Dizzy, I said me and Dizzy used to go. We were like rivals on teams back in the day. So I was like, Cuddy, we about to hoop on these. Dizzy hoop too. It was me.
Oh yeah,
Dwayne Jones and Dizzy definitely. Because to me, Ron Johnny was always like the perfect point guard.
Yeah.
Like he was like not going, he wasn't even out there to score the most, but
he was trying to facilitate for other people.
So that's what I like about him. But I like when people know they role.
Yeah.
I like when a person know what they got to do. Like,
see, I'm a shooter. That's my role. I'm not real good at defense.
I ain't no point guard.
Yeah.
I ain't setting up nothing. So if you want to win? Put me in my spot.
Right.
I can't.
Give me the ball at the 3-point line and let me go to work. That's what I do best.
But it was just so much fun being amongst other artists and creatives in a spot like that, or just in like an environment like that. I'm like, and I don't know that many of y'all. Some of y'all I do know. Some of us have exchanged words, but I came out there because, you know, like everybody has their own perception and image of you. But I'm like, I know I do the stage thing, but I'm about to have to let y'all know I had on church socks, okay? I had on my glasses. I said, I'm about to hoop
on these cats.
And I don't like just to just score. I'm like, I'm about to block shots. I'm about to get rebounds. I'm about to steal, get steals. I want it all. Fill up the stat sheet. That's what I want. I'm like, fill up that stat sheet. That's why I'm here. I don't care if I'm playing bad. Put somebody else in. That's the type of player I am. Right. I want to win. Put somebody else in so we can win. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give you any details of what I'm talking about. I'm just going to ask you the question, and whoever comes to your mind, just say their name.
Okay.
Who's the GOAT?
LeBron?
So I've gotten to the stage of where I feel like there isn't one GOAT, because goats are species of animals and there's a species of them. So there's a bunch of goats. They just exist in this species together. Mm-hmm. So there can be more than one. Because sometimes when people will be like, who's the GOAT? I'm like, Serena Williams.
Okay.
And that's on period.
Right. And you can't dispute that either.
I can sit here and tell you why. I'll be in tears halfway. Like, I'm telling y'all now, I know when Serena and Venus retire, I'm going to be like, what am I supposed to do now? You going to come back and commentate? Because I need you here. Like, I need you here. They've done so much for me. It's like Kobe. It's like, even though we don't know them, what they represented and the strength, they really gave me strength to be. And even though we don't know them, but that's the power of love. You know, that's the power of energy. And what the Williams sisters have done for tennis as two black girls, like, I never forget being young and seeing them play with beads in their hair. My sister had beads in their hair, so I was like, oh, there go other black girls. They do the same thing. And they were really young teenagers playing tennis, winning, and became like super mega stars. And then I started playing tennis, fell in love with the game, fell in love with the Williams sisters all over again. Head over heels for Serena, and just to see Serena, like I said, with Kobe and even with LeBron, I'm like, damn, you were already great. I had no idea she can get better. They used to ask Serena, is this it? She's like, nah, I ain't even peaked yet. And I'm like, girl, you peaked.
Nah.
5 years later, 30 something.
Still winning Wimbledons and
stunning.
Everything.
She played the 2012 Olympic Games. The most games she lost in a match was 5 games. She beat the number 2 player in the world 6-0, 6-1 in like 50 something minutes to win the gold medal. I ain't never seen a person win something like that.
So dominant.
She destroyed, like, she was like, I'm here to win. And she came, I was like, I have never seen, besides Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Besides Usain Bolt, I had never seen something done like that. I was like, wow. Like, she was like, you know, she's 30. You don't know how many more chances you have Olympics every 4 years. Next Olympics came, she was a little hurt, didn't win. But she's like, this is my chance. And I had never seen an experience like, I mean, the number 2 player in the world, you beat her in like 15 minutes. She won 1 game for the gold medal. The
she was
whole
not
world,
playing
you know how
around.
they be like, the whole world's watching. No, sis. The whole world's watching this one. Like, I'd be so embarrassed. I would just be like, oh yeah, good job. You know, I was sick, my back. I would nah.
Man, all type of excuses.
Just complete dominance. So, is there any questions that you have for me? You know, anything?
Yes.
You want to know?
Something that I've always wanted to know. What inspired you to become an artist?
I have always been an artist. I can't tell the difference between my artistry and just who I am as a person. I'm trying to, and I know a lot of times people were like, you got to separate the two, but I'm like, I just think it's my purpose, and not just, you know, singing and dancing on the stage, but it's the expression, to express love, to express unity. And I think that's how I do it and how I was supposed to do it. But, you know, like, I just remember, you know, there are moments in time of my life that I just remember being stuck. And I remember the first time seeing Whitney Houston sing on that chair in the snow. And I was like, oh, I love her. Who is this?
Yeah.
Like, young, you know, single digits. I'm like, I love her. Like, who is this? Fell in love with Mary J. Blige. Like, I just fell in love with, like, hip hop and R&B. And I was writing songs when I was young. I didn't realize, like, that was the starting of my songwriting. Like, if you were to ask me, I'd be like, yeah, I started writing songs a few years ago, until I realized and went back in my journal. I'm like, damn, I kind of been writing songs since I was 8 years old.
Yep.
But I just didn't consider myself an artist. I wasn't, you know, I was constructing things. I was making things out of construction papers. I was making Christmas trees. I was making purses for my mom's out of things, out of paper and glue and spit. Like, it's crazy, but I was making those things, and that's like, that was just my creativity. But I just feel like that's how I can express myself. When I started writing songs and being able to express myself like that, even when I went through a really angry point of my life because of a bad breakup, I put it all into music. And I discovered Third Degree, you know, James Major Bars, that's my rap name. And I discovered that side of myself but I was like, I just want to put all of my emotions and everything I do into this. And I just think that having that expression to inspire people, because I live for moments in life, and I feel like, you know, you never know what that one moment that can change you, just like it had me, or that one moment that can bring happiness back to you in an instant, or bring sadness back to you in an instant, or bring anger back to you. And I just try to give those moments. I just want to give people those moments, because there's already so much bad. I just want to have a helping hand into making things better, especially being a person who went through a lot of like not so happy moments. So it inspires me to inspire people to just love themselves. I think self-love, there we got it. Did I answer it finally? Self-love inspires me to be an artist, and I can express it through my artistry more than just music.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Whew. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that one and be like, narrow it down to 3 sentences. Self-love and helping others.
You're right. There you go. Okay.
Are there any other questions?
Nothing I can think of. You pretty much covered. I appreciate this experience because there's a lot that I didn't really know about you either. So I appreciate this. And I definitely talk a lot. I have learned to be a better listener through the podcast. And I had like this tactic of before of like just saying what I had to say, not in the podcast, of just talking with people, because I was like, I hate that I forget what I want to say, because I'm just gonna let everybody else talk. So I was just like, okay, I know you want to say this, but just real quick. But I have come back and listened, and I'm still learning as I go. I'm like, you know what, I just gotta let them talk. But then there's sometimes where I need to interject and like get back online. But I'm like, I don't want to seem rude, but you know, it's just a structure that I do follow sometimes to ask some of the questions that I want to ask. So I will say there's something like I've definitely been working on with myself, and it's like my relationship with people, but especially like black men and heterosexual black men, because growing up for me, it was I've always felt like it was either attraction or me being afraid of them for not accepting me. AAA. That's my new AAA. I've been trying to I come up with acronyms a lot, but it's just those things that like, so I can remember. But I've been working on like my relationship with people, but I did a live like not too long ago, and I was saying things, and there were guys down there like, we're not all the same, James. And I'm like, I feel like an angry black woman, like, you know. And I was like, but I relate to some of the things that they feel, because I'm like, I feel like I've been treated this way by our men, and I just want to be a part of this group. But I'm trying to heal, and I'm just trying to talk more, and I just want to have that relationship, and especially when it comes to artistry and even hip-hop, because of who I am, what I represent. And you know, I came to fight. It's like, you know, I just have something to say. I'm here for us being treated fairly, and I represent so much more than just the average person. Not that you don't, but like as us being black, but I do represent like the queer community, and we're a minority also, but it's like the minorities are against each other. So I appreciate the relationships I have with people, but it's really important to me for me to have better relationships and not like be afraid of like my community. And it's starting with the hierarchy of the black men. I love y'all. I love you guys. But I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm excited to, and I want to get rid of the stigmas that I have. Just like I feel like they have stigmas of me as a queer guy, I want to get rid of the stigmas that I have of how I think they feel about me. So it's definitely a work in progress. But I would like to thank you for being a guest. Let the people know where they can find you everywhere. So again, my name is Paris STEPHAN. You can find me on Facebook, Paris Wallace. That's my first and last name. SoundCloud and YouTube channel are both Paris STEPHAN. Twitter is at Paris STEPHAN 330. Instagram is also at Paris STEPHAN 330. And you can find my music on SoundCloud at Paris STEPHAN.
You can find me. So I just got this great idea for you. You need to have a sign off and be like, P.S.
That's exactly what I say after the end of a lot of my verses.
That's P.S. Yes, that is great.
And also because it's for PlayStation 2, like,
and on that note, guys, this has been The Third Degree with me, James Major Burns, and Paris STEPHAN. Have a good night.
Thank you.